listeners. I'm your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I believe it's somebody's birthday today. 9/18/18. Number 9.
Lucky day. It's a lucky, happy day.
Yeah.
It doesn't always turn out that way when it's on that day.
Well, that's what happens. What are you going to do?
I don't know. We worked it out that way this year. Happy day.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. I made it. I made it. 5'7". 57. Look at her. Look, who are we talking about? Dr. Dale Figtree is here on my birthday. Thank you. That's right. Right? Ava Buford is here on my birthday. Dominique Hackett's here on my birthday. Of course, we're nothing without the producer. Dr. D's here on my birthday, and my buddy, my friend. How are you?
All in all, I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah. Appreciate you being here today on my
I'm
birthday.
glad to be here. Just getting over dealing with the loss of a dear friend of mine.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a birthday killer right there.
Well, so we won't go any further. Just needless to say, good friend, and we're going to miss him a lot. But
may you meet again. How's that?
oh, we will.
Yeah,
We will.
there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, 57.
Yeah, 5'7".
Wow.
I'm happy about that.
You know, you're chasing me, but you know you'll never catch me.
2.5 more years. I can't. I want that 5'9.5".
5'9.5".
I want that. I want 59.5.
Why?
Well, because that's when you get that level of monies that you've been a saver like me.
Oh.
Then I like that. 59.5.
Well, then I won't be getting that because I'm not a saver like you.
Yeah, I'm a saver. Right, Dominique? I'm a saver.
Yep.
I like saving money.
And you teach saving.
Yeah, I like teaching saving, and I like saving.
Fiscal responsibility.
And I like purging, and that's what we've been doing, on my birthday.
That's a good thing. Lighten the load.
Yes, we did that. We lived with 3 dumpster loads.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we did that. You want to share what we've been doing?
We have been shuffling, so we literally had to, can I say?
Absolutely. Well, I'll get to the funny part of it.
We literally had to put up some tents because we're helping a nonprofit
5 tents.
Move
we were
from
tent city at my house. We would tent, seriously. I know.
One of them is a Montana canvas tent.
A big Montana canvas tent.
Yeah.
I know.
Canvas
Dale's
made
saying,
in
what have you
America.
done?
With
Roughly the dimensions are what? Because I'm not familiar.
10 by 14.
Wow.
That's one.
Yeah, it's
that's
fantastic.
Just one.
In other words, that's about the size of my
The
bedroom.
neighbors across the gully, I have this wash or actually I actually had one neighbor climb up on a ladder
To see what was going on.
over the fence.
The circus is coming to town.
That was awkward when I walked out and I caught him.
Gee.
Okay. Oh yeah, that was funny. I waved. Hi.
The Montana
this is
tent
me, your
is-
neighbor.
Get out of my tent zone.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of my tent zone! It was hysterical. What are you doing?
He thought the circus was coming
Exactly.
to town.
Oh, yeah. It's a little annoying.
And he was wrong because the circus was already in town.
Yeah. Well, we have to do it.
So a shout out to Montana Canvas because they gave us a discount for the nonprofit. It's philosophical books for the blind. So
great.
We're helping a Braille organization move from Santa Maria into Santa Barbara. So it's not the Braille Institute, but it's another Braille nonprofit that also works to get books in Braille for adults and children.
Hey, you were talking about that a few weeks ago.
Yes, indeed.
That's so critical.
Yeah. So the critical thing for blind people participating in a sighted world is that they need sighted people's support.
Exactly.
And,
yes.
Part of being able to read Braille is having enough, recent material that's in Braille. And a lot of adults who become blind mostly rely on audio books because they were sighted.
Right.
And it's very frustrating to start at the beginning with your ABCs and learn another language because learning Braille is another language. But if blind children begin and are supported in their school efforts with Braille, they will become more self-sufficient as they grow older. Yeah. So supporting the efforts to keep the Braille language alive is really important.
May I share a story with you? I don't know that I've ever shared this before on this very subject. About 25, maybe 30 years ago, there was a debate. They were trying to get Congress to pull funding for the publishing of Playboy in Braille. Now, we all know that the pictures are not published in Braille. It's the articles.
I'm going to be a little risque here, but the Playboy articles are actually very good.
They were
very well written.
Excellent. So this was the debate, and I went up to my general manager at the time of the Christian radio station, very fundamentalist evangelical individual, and I said, so basically what you're saying is, because he was in support of pulling the funding, I said, okay, from a business standpoint, I would say yes. If Hefner wants to provide the Playboy in Braille at the newsstand price, I'm in agreement with you. However, he's probably not going to do that, and it's been paid for by the Library of Congress for I don't know how many years.
Right. So
okay?
Braille materials that are put into Braille there are many different nonprofits, including our government, that helps to make things available.
Right. So they wanted, as I say, pull the funding. I said, so basically, you have either you Hefner does that, or we keep providing it, because what you're telling the blind community is that you are going to decide what they get to read, and you are basically taking away their human and civil rights. You can walk into any bookstore, look at the spine of a book, it's in the shelf, open it up, just flip the page. No, I don't want to read that. They can't do that, and I actually his jaw dropped. Because he knew I was right.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that was my point. The thing is their asset is basically in the property.
Yeah.
So their assets isn't liquid, and nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
I mean, Santa Barbara didn't
Plus,
want
I like
the
the subject matter that you're talking. It's
philosophical books. So
I love it.
The focus is on education, but not everyone is going to necessarily support philosophy and thinking and critical thinking and learning about
not in this day and age.
ancient cultures and so forth. So it's a particular focus, and the basis of this nonprofit also had to do with promoting universal brotherhood by the study of culture and philosophy all throughout the world. And they started, they were turned into a nonprofit, or recognized as a nonprofit in 1945. So it's a noble effort, and we're really pleased to be able to help facilitate that.
I mean, on my program, I've interviewed atheists, Scientologists. I've had Christians on, I've had Buddhists and all different, and I have plans in the not too distant future to interview someone about Rastafarianism and other not so well known philosophies that are out there.
You should get someone from the Waldorf School to talk about Rudolf Stein and
I still want to do Blavatsky. I still don't have to find someone to do Blavatsky unless I can get a channel to channel the author of the book.
Well, I might be able to help you out on that.
Okay, that'd be great.
When Dominique, posed this dilemma, it's like, the other option was to, since nobody local, wanted them.
Right.
I mean, they were going to get rid of all the books. And I'm like,
get rid of to the landfill.
Right. And I'm like, that's just not going to happen.
No.
So basically...
So we've rescued books that are about yoga or about astrology or about...
the Bible.
Krishnamurti. I mean, there are authors that no one else has actually taken the time to put into Braille. Yeah. And so we're going to help those books get to the library, most likely in L.A., because our library here in Santa Barbara is full.
And I'm curious, have you seen these Braille books yet?
Yes, I have them.
And what is the condition?
Most of them were reproduced on acid-free paper.
Okay.
So we've only kept the books that are still in good condition. The books that are not in good condition, we've had to let go.
All right. Well, and the beauty is they had all the printers up there as well. So, and after Dominique did her research, in addition to the purging, and this is where the funny story came, after, years and years, of living in the same house over 30 some odd years, you'll have that one space in your home that you just, have stuff that you like. Do you really need it, not need it? And after everything that Santa Barbara has gone through, I'm like...
We're all reassessing our possessions.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I reassessed when all this stuff came to me. I'm talking probably about in excess of 8, 9, maybe even as much as 10,000 books. I'm like, we just had no place else. And I said, okay, finally... we had a space of maybe 20 feet by, say, 8 feet. So I said, just get rid of this whole box.
Yeah.
Okay. So we converted that whole box into, which is going to be the future Braille
room.
brailing
making
room.
the books.
So we're going to make books there.
You do know your chicken coop is large enough. You could have done some storage in there. It's
so
huge.
That's going to be the future Braille. And see, the nice thing is about the way they make books now for Braille is they're just plastic sheets.
Yeah.
So you can use clear plastic sheets, do the embossing on the clear sheets, and put them on a printed book,
Right.
so that now the book can be used by a sighted person and a Braille person. So, I mean, it depends on how many words are on the page and so forth, but our intention is to focus on the children and to focus on philosophical, cultural, world cultural books for children. So
I
it'll be really fun.
love that. That is fantastic.
So that's what actually came out of the whole thing, because you always look at, I talk to myself all the time because, who else is going to listen to me? So when I looked at this, there's always got to be a meaning to all this madness, and even getting rid of that room, and then as it was going, so of course you run over to Home Depot because, you've got to, put a floor, you got to paint it and everything, and then
the room was a dirty white and green, like the house green.
Right. So like
it is now purple and beautiful yellow.
Yeah, so
cool.
I basically let Dominique, that's her little art project. So when we put the floor in, it was great. So, you put the floor, it's just like snap wood. It's
We got some laminate wood.
Yeah,
Very
laminate wood. It's
good.
easy. You put it together.
The room's
whatever,
not square.
Well, okay, here she goes. She has to defend herself. Okay, so anyway, it's a snap wood, doesn't cost. I said, I want to donate, just my little donation. I wrote a check here to the Theosophical, whatever it is, TB, whatever it is. Here's my check.
What a great birthday gift you've given.
I do that.
Exactly.
I did. That's what you kind of do, because Facebook nails you. Who do you want to donate to? Who do you know to donate?
Vons nails you.
I hate when people do that. I sold the stock. I was so I don't want to make somebody donate to me or whatever. If I was going to make somebody gift, I'd rather have you gift to who you want to donate
Exactly.
to. I don't want you to donate to who I want. I hate that. So anyway, that's a whole nother side story. So anyway, she does her floor, right? And this was the so cute thing. So she buys this. What kind of saw did
It
you
was
buy?
laminate wood.
Right, but what saw did you buy? A little jigsaw?
Oh, yeah, it was jigsaw.
Yeah, but you don't need the jigsaw when you put these things snapping together. So anyway, I'm sleeping here. I'm like, what the heck is she doing? So
I'm making it fit.
yeah, whatever. So I go out there like, I don't know, 11:30, and all of a sudden, she needs to stop with the whatever. So I look out there and I'm like, I don't know if she thinks she's laying tile. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying?
The look on Erica's face was slightly disgusted.
Like, I don't want to say disgust. First of all, that's a harsh word. Erica doesn't ever get disgusted.
It was the equivalent of...
How about perplexed?
I ordered
perplexed?
a rare steak, and you gave me
like
fully
I just
cooked.
was confused. Can we use the word confused, because they're supposed to go together. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's
It's a
not
puzzle.
supposed to be a gap.
Yeah, you put a
It
puzzle
wasn't a
together. and
square
It's like,
room.
I don't understand where the gap came from. It's supposed to go together. But I got to say one thing. Even though when I walked out, speechless, okay, because I paid for the floor, I'm supposed to be together, right? But then again, I consulted with my guides, because I'm kind of, that kind of person. Like, I know you're doing this, because why wouldn't I if I map my own world, in my own reality, there's got to be a great outcome, because I wouldn't have done it any other way.
The great outcome is wood putty.
Yeah, okay, but what the beautiful thing is we kind of talked about it, hashed it through, and I got to say, you just nailed it, because it is the most eclectic, most beautiful floor. As an artist,
now
Dr. Dale,
a wood mosaic.
Mosaic.
she combined. It's the only floor
I added
of its
gemstones.
kind. She combined a tile wood floor. It's awesome.
Very cool.
Because she made. What did you put in the putty?
I put in a little bit of crushed jade, crushed amethyst, and crushed tourmaline.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was the biggest mistake, awesome thing that I have ever seen. I mean,
That's
I'm
great.
telling you, it is awesome.
It's an art
like
project.
this wood floor that's tiled, and the grout is so
It's pretty.
cool. It is so you.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know how you did it, and it was like, I'm telling you, that was the most awesome mistake
Very
I've ever
cool.
seen. That's all I got to
Very
say.
cool.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you for the room.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture of it. I'm speechless.
When we start redoing the Braille books, we'll take a picture. Put
Every
on
time
Teen
I
Switch
look at
Radio.
the floor, I just laugh. I'm like, it is so you. I don't know how you did it. Thank you so much. I owe you. You made me eat my words. I gotta say.
And as
Let's
far
take a
as
little break.
the unsquare room, I don't feel so bad now that I've got some same kind of situation in the house that we live in.
Yeah.
The windows are not square.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Anyway, break time.
Let's take a break. It's Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more of these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. We're gonna get to Dr. Dale Figtree for a heavy topic, but before we go there, can we talk about something that I saw? I mean, it's been a while
What
ago.
did you see?
Well, you know, we talked about it like the other day when I called you, but that whole, I think it's over now because I'm not a big TV watcher or whatever, but I caught it on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the whole Serena? It's old now, but the whole Serena Williams thing, is that died down now or
I
whatever?
could have sworn that was McEnroe.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
John
so
McEnroe.
Serena Williams is a
Tennis player. Yeah.
and she was playing in the U.S. Open. What was?
I believe it was the U.S. Open or some big
It was one
tennis
of the,
championship.
It was a big championship. Yeah.
And
yeah.
basically, she got accused of cheating, and it was she blew up because it was false accusations, and now it's just gone into this whole woman versus man argument, and it's just a mess.
So the game was going on, and then the line referee or the main referee made a call. Mm-hmm. And the call he made was that she looked at her coach. So does anyone here know about tennis? Is there some rule that you're not allowed to
I don't think
look at your
so.
coaches?
I'm not aware of anything like that. I've never heard. This is the first time I've ever heard of anybody ever being accused of that, because you have that in baseball and in football and in basketball.
Well, you're not allowed to look at your coach. Okay.
know?
No, you can't. You can't.
In tennis, you cannot.
No, you can't.
That's
So I know,
bizarre.
I know that's bizarre, but it is a rule, and she got called out for doing it. And regardless of that point, I think the whole issue is her overreaction, and she got called out for overreacting. So I think.
So the point, so she got called, but that wasn't the real thing. The thing was her response to the referee when she disagreed with the referee's call.
Correct.
And the whole reason why it's so sensitive brings up the male-female issue in sports.
And then her verbal abuse towards the gentleman,
The referee?
he cost her a point, and then that point, lost the game. So then that escalated. So, but I mean, how I look at it is, if we gotta level out. So how I think this whole thing's going to play out, it'll level out the playing field a little bit, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because anybody that goes up against a great player, male or a female, I just look at what it does to any, the opponent is always going to raise their game, So hats off to, because she lost. So hats off to anybody that beats somebody powerful. I mean, you've got to be a superstar that day. You got to bring it all, right? So, sports just elevates.
Yeah. And I disagree with the statement that she tainted this gal's win. I don't think so.
No.
The gal won. She, granted, if she hadn't been penalized those points, she probably would have won, and there wouldn't have been all this controversy. But again, I mean. It is definitely a double standard because, as I mentioned before, John McEnroe would go on for 3 and 4 and 5 minutes upbraiding the referees and the line judges for the calls that they would make during his tournaments in the 70s.
And he wouldn't get dinged a
and
point?
Nothing.
Okay, that's a little... I don't quite know what to say. It gets really tough in sports where you want to support your referee and your umps. You want to support the calls that they make. But then there are times where you're in definite disagreement, and it's a tricky thing in sports of how to respond.
I feel like in sports in general, too, there are so many biases between just in general men and women's games. Because when I cheer for a boys basketball game, all the stands are full, and both sides of our basketball court are open for everyone to sit at. And at girls' games, the other side not only isn't open, but only half the people come. So I think it's just the lack of respect too that all of these moderators have towards women in sports and or other players that aren't as famous as others.
So what can we learn from this whole event? I mean, are we trying to tell our female athletes, hey, don't get mad at a call you don't agree with? Or, I mean, what are we expecting all athletes, whether women or men, what are we expecting them to learn from this situation?
I believe that if you're a public figure, you of any sort of sport or actor or actress, you really have to watch what you say because it can be shredded apart from so many different directions and media sources and whoever. But like limiting what someone can say or do just because they're afraid, I don't know where the line has to be drawn, or it's just so messy.
Well, you're going into broadcasting, so you have to take a line. You know, you have to make a decision, like where you want to go with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be a famous broadcaster. That's the thing, is you have to take a stand.
So do you support the ref or do you support the athlete? It's a tricky call.
Yeah. It's really...
I mean, I support the athlete in saying, wait a second, that call's not accurate.
Yes.
I totally support that. But in general, whether it's a man or a woman, I don't support berating a ref when they've made the call.
I agree.
Because at that point, you're disrespecting the sport.
I think there was 2 wrongs made on both sides, and neither one is innocent, obviously, because the ref was just trying to do his job. But it could come off that, he was trying to berate Serena. But then again, she did cross a line.
And I have to say, even though there may be other men who berate judges for long periods of time, 2 wrongs don't make a right. I mean, how do we want our sports to go?
Yeah.
And that's how I think we should all behave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it is sort of it's hard. I mean, you're weighing the job that the refs and the line judges in tennis are supposed to be doing versus the appropriate level of sportsmanship during the matches. You know, and I would have to say that her reaction, and I do believe she did apologize after the fact, that it wasn't really, it was unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well,
but
she was accused of cheating, so I totally understand getting really upset.
On the one hand, justifiable. At the same time, and again, I would make the same statement to McEnroe during his career, going after the guys and hey, that's.
I mean, instead of looking at the level of men saying, well, a guy can do it, why can't we just say then we got to calm down that side?
We need to calm down both sides.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, well, a guy can do it, and just say, well, no, let's increase the consciousness and say, well, no, a guy's going to have to calm down.
Yeah.
And say, why don't we lower it to a female level?
It's kind of like learning the essence of nonviolent communication, because things like this happen in life where it's a really critical, stressful moment. Somebody makes a call, and in our eye, it's not justifiable. It's something that seems to be a mark against us. How do we respond? And it's a lesson to be learned, whether it's in sports or in life and relationships.
2 things. My dad always tells me life isn't about what happens to you, it's how you react to it. And secondly, this all relates back to what this topic we were learning in English. It was about it was called the gender unit, and basically it was talking about different gender roles in society and how people have like preconceived conceptions of how men and women should act. And I feel like in sports, when a man goes off on a male ref, it's okay because he's a man and he's full of testosterone. But as soon as a woman does it, it gets blown up into this crazy thing. So I think not only does it have to do with how people react, but it's how society views all those reactions.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because had it been, what if it were all female across the board?
Yeah.
Would the issue have even taken place?
Yeah.
Like line judges were female reps, if everything was all female, would it have even taken place?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes things happen in life, and it's enough for us to witness it that, wow, there's something not quite injustice or imbalance here, and that's it. We witness it, and we see how the world continues to evolve.
Yeah.
Good point.
And we've even seen in men's sports in particular, because that seems to be the dominant viewing on television, in whether it's baseball, basketball, football, we see guys every so often. There's the plays are rolling along, and all of a sudden they get called in play, and they'll be jumping around on the field. What do you mean? And you see it in soccer all the time. Guys will fall intentionally. They didn't get hit, and they're trying to get a call on the other team, and the ref does not. No, I'm not buying your play. It's a wonderful drama going to Shakespeare, but you're not getting what you think you're going to get here. And
I would want to know what they all ate that day. How about that, Dr. Dale? Dr. Dale, I think we should always, I want to see their food diaries. What do you think I say about that?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
They might end up just eating too much sugar.
That's right.
There you
I think
go.
they all
They're
had
too
just
hopped up.
And just
exactly.
having their just edgy and
That's it. They're way too edgy. Just
The
too
Twinkie
hopped up.
defense.
That's it. That's it. Right? Twinkie defense.
too much caffeine in
That's right.
Coca-Cola.
That's right. Huh? Too much Monster drinks.
Right.
Too many
you go.
Monster
There
drinks
you
right
go.
there. Hey.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a little break. It's Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. Well, this is what I think everybody's been waiting on, like I have been waiting on. And I
Is
know.
this the shot in the dark?
Yeah, this is a shot in the dark. But we got a little link here. We're gonna be
That's
gentle,
clever.
but it is
Thank you.
back to school month, and I don't know. We do this every year, so this. I mean, anybody's been following the
Pick
show.
a hot topic.
I know. We always like to take the shot in the hot, topic.
It beats a shot across the bow. Let me
I
tell
know,
you.
exactly.
Ow.
And I know it actually gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about immunizations. It's kind of cool now because vaccinations. I've been, in the coaching field now for 27 years, and now the kids that I started off with, I mean, they're having kids, so it's like, whoa. And my one of my closest friends, his daughter now is 2, and she's in the whole, realm of taking the first series of shots and stuff. And man, I do my darndest to keep my mouth shut, but it's so hard for me. I say, talk to Dominique, is what I say.
So the law is you have to receive vaccinations, at least in California and Santa Barbara County. And if you don't, you're not allowed in school, if I'm not mistaken. And it's literally, if I'm not mistaken, it's literally against the law not to vaccinate your kids.
Right. Yeah, you have to get like a high school shot and some. I know there's I have to take some for college too. I don't know how many, but I know it's a lot because my sister had to get 8 because she missed a bunch some years. So
yeah, so when I was raising my children, it was a choice, and you could sign a religious waiver, and what that meant was if you didn't have vaccines and there was an outbreak of German measles or something, then you knew that your kids would be sent home because you don't have any protection for that. And my kids have been in lots of discussion about whether it was right for me to not vaccinate them. Most of them have decided to get vaccinated as adults. And my argument to them was, hey, you got to make the decision, and you also got the vaccinations after your body is grown and is, through the growth process as an adult. So I think that their bodies are taking the vaccines a little differently. That's number one. And then number two, my kids also talk about the morality of it. And there is science-based evidence that, wow, there are whooping cough, measles, there's different kinds of childhood illnesses that seem to have disappeared, and now some studies are showing are resurfacing, and some people are blaming it on the people who have chosen not to be vaccinated. I don't know what is actually going to come out on all the studies, but we were hoping that, Dr. Dale, that you might have some information to offer and also give your opinion on vaccines or the information you have on it.
Well, I would be happy to.
Yay! Dr. Dale Figtree! Just have the last stab here.
I'm happy to be here. The bottom line is education, education, education. Because if people really look at the story behind vaccines and the education that is available and make their own decisions, I think that's the bottom line. That there are laws that are forcing people to make decisions for their kids' health, even if they're against it, is kind of shocking, and that's not democratic. And how it happened, from my reading about it, it just sounds like the power and the money of the pharmaceutical company, once again, has influenced Congress to a shocking degree. There's a film on right now on the internet, right now as we speak. It's going to be on for the next few days. The website is called GoTo, that's G-O and the number 2, thetruthaboutvaccines.com. And it is an extremely well-researched and put together film interviewing many doctors, many medical doctors, many parents. And as I say, the bottom line is education. The fact that the laws passed means that education doesn't matter. People are forced to, whether they want to or not. And as I say, that's not democratic, and one day it will be taken down. But in the meantime, a huge amount of money is being made by the pharmaceutical companies, and if people really understood the law, they would be shocked. And the law is basically that a bunch of pharmaceutical companies went to the government many years ago and said, we are being sued by so many places that we do not want to produce vaccines anymore. We don't want to make them anymore. It's not profitable. It's difficult. The only way we will continue to produce vaccines if we could be protected from being sued. And the government went ahead and said, okay. Why the government went ahead and said, okay, who knows what money was handed behind the scenes to promote elections and things like that. But the government literally passed a law that vaccine companies cannot be sued. That means the vaccine companies could go ahead and make vaccines, not test them according to specific standards, do anything they want. They had nobody to answer to. Nobody. But I have to say that most people don't realize that 75 cents of every vaccine that's paid for goes into a fund that has paid millions, actually billions of dollars to people that have had problems with vaccines. So in one hand, they're saying, you can't sue us, you have to get them. On another hand, there's money taken from every vaccine that goes into a fund where people's lives have been changed. And okay, so the bottom line about vaccines is what's true and what's not true. I mean, there were vaccines for polio that, just were extraordinary. Extraordinary. I was a child when people around me were getting polio, and to have a vaccine was godsend. And there are other vaccines for tetanus, for instance, and so on and so forth. But those days have changed. When I was a child, you got a few vaccines that were absolutely relevant. The amount of vaccines people are getting today, for a child to have a vaccine for hepatitis B, which chances are, they rarely will get, for women to be vaccinated for the HPV virus, which has caused more women to die and have damages than has caused problems with women. It's just the laws are not set up to explore the pros and cons properly so that these can be used intelligently. And I'm not saying that there isn't a benefit and a way to use them, but the fact that there are no rules and setups and go-tos in terms of looking at each one and assessing, is there damage? We need to look at it. Is there benefit here? Is there, that's not in place. And because of that, statistics that are being hidden are just beyond belief. One thing has to do with autism. There's a huge tie between autism and people that get vaccinated. Will the government fund a study looking at kids that aren't vaccinated and kids that are and see if autism is higher in one group than the other? No. Why not? I mean, one can only say there's a problem there that no one's looking at. And it goes on and on and on with other vaccines. So the bottom line is, I'm not saying that all vaccines are bad. I'm just saying that people should educate themselves as to the problems with vaccines and pick and choose if they want to, go ahead and vaccinate their children with certain things. And then there's another dimension, which are things like measles. I don't know about the rest of you here, but I had measles. All my friends had measles. As kids, nobody died from measles. I mean, of course, I heard stories. And what I learned through the years was that measles actually seem to help the immune system mature and become stronger. And so to stop certain things that actually are in service, I mean, that's a whole other question you have to look at. So obviously this is complicated.
Let me ask a quick question, a yes or no, and you've kind of answered it, so I just want to make sure I understood you. At one point in the immunization process, when we first started using them decades ago, they were a good thing.
Yes, it started out, absolutely.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? I'm curious about whether they're taken orally or whether they're injected in the arm. I've started to see studies that when you take a vaccine orally, it participates in the body's natural immune process, and it may actually work better and in harmony with the body rather than getting an injection.
Yeah, something, I really can't comment on that. I really haven't read literature, that really compares.
That's a lot to absorb. I think it's time to get some more tea or coffee. It's Erica Salda, the Queen of Tea, and we'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. You see how this just flows, this show? We're not saying not to get immunized. My whole thing with the neighbors that we have,
education.
That's what we're saying. Get educated.
Yeah, but I just, it's just like the person that I personally know that was definitely the family that was affected. This was about 8 years ago, and the child, was definitely, I feel, ended up being affected. I looked at it was the quantity, the dosage. And that's what I feel, and the parents feel, that it was the dose that the child got. So I feel like, giving a child a shot like 4 shots at once. I'm just saying, maybe break it up a little bit. You know what I mean? That's what I would do.
There's a lot of things to be considered.
And honestly, if I had to live in a county, not necessarily would I stay in Santa Barbara. This is a me thing. Do you know what I'm saying? If you had to be immunized, and besides, I told you like that. I mean, I would like homeschool. You know what I mean? Well, I'd be in a position to homeschool. Oh, let's go to the Getty and learn about art. Come on, let's go with Omar. We're going to the Getty today.
It brings up an interesting.
I would do that.
I know. It brings up an interesting governance issue. Do you put laws into place because you fear for the public health, and you figure, okay, there may be some negative repercussions, but hey, we've got to take care of the public? Or do you enforce that your citizens become educated and be responsible in making responsible decisions? And I mean, it's...
Yeah, but our government, what was democracy has been hijacked by big business. And when you have most countries in Europe and many countries around the world making it illegal to use Roundup pesticides on their crops because they know it causes cancer, that does not happen in this country. It's not being made illegal. Why?
Right.
Why? And it's just big business behind it. And,
Roundup is used right before they harvest the wheat, and it does this process where it literally makes the wheat, its yield increases because the plant panics that it's dying, and it releases all its seeds.
Yeah. So, the bottom line that I tell my clients and the bottom line that I promote is become wise, become educated. You cannot trust, doctors may mean well, but they're educated by the pharmaceutical company. I mean, in this, a doctor was interviewed in this this documentary, and he said, I trust vaccines. And they said, you do? And why do you trust them? He said, because the rep told me they do no harm.
The rep?
The rep.
The rep?
The rep. The drug rep told him they do no harm, and he believes him.
Wow.
I mean, what can I say?
I'd like to check the rep's credentials.
Yeah.
It's like the box on the cigarette carton.
But-
It does this, doesn't
But you know
cost,
something, I'm not surprised because the pharmaceutical companies have extraordinary power, and they're very controlling what is taught in medical schools. They're very controlling in terms of the laws, and there's just one thing, which is that people can educate themselves because of the web. There's information that has not come out before that was tried to be shielded so that we didn't know. It is out there, it's available, and I think it's just up to every person before they make a decision that can affect their lives and their children's lives or children's health, that they should be educated. They should look at both sides, and then they can decide for themselves.
That's it.
Yeah, so if you want to live in a democracy, you have to be an educated citizen.
Yeah.
And if you just go onto the web and even just Google, vaccines, pros and cons or problems with everything, you can find a lot of stuff.
There are really good websites out there now that have
Really good websites,
science-based
yeah.
information.
Yeah, so.
Sweet. Hey, we got a little shorty after these messages. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I'm your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. There's nothing like getting a text from the Godfather, Bill Pintard. Put your hands
All right,
together.
Bill.
The Foresters sending me some love on my birthday here. And then, oh, by the way, be sure to give a shout out here for the. Let's see, they have an event coming up, 9/27. The Foresters are having a little celebrity event. He wants everybody to come out to the Red Piano on State Street from 5 to 8. Okay, 9/27.
the piano.
5 to 8, the Red Piano celebrity
I think that's
event.
off of Figueroa, if I'm not mistaken, right across from the library.
No, State Street.
State Street,
Yeah,
the
don't
Red
say
Piano on
yeah,
State Street. Okay.
All right, you going to be there?
Where's the Red Piano?
It's a bar, I guess. It's a bar,
okay.
and you know how much
And that's
Dominique
a Thursday
and I
night.
drink.
That's a Thursday
You know,
night.
Dominique and I are the big drinkers.
Yeah,
So we're
right.
gonna-
Tea.
Yeah, we're teetotalers. So he wanted to know if I was going to be one of those celebrities. Isn't that adorable? He wanted
That's
to be
so
the celebrity bartender.
Awesome.
Aww. Isn't that cute that he texted me on my birthday?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's adorable.
Very
Maybe because
cute.
I told him to text me yesterday. Be sure you text me on my birthday. That's what people do when they have issues with birthday. Do I have issues with my birthday? No. I have
No.
birthday months.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
So give us that information one more time.
9/27. The Foresters want everybody. If you're attached to 7 championships.
Yes. Yes.
Who does
Wow.
that?
And we have been
Who
a part
does that?
of, I think,
what was
5
their
of
record?
them.
You know what they record? 40 and something. 40 and 7, wasn't
Well,
it?
their regular
Total
season
Right.
was 36-4,
Right.
and they played 6 games in the postseason to
Right.
win the championship, and only lost 1.
Right.
So you add that, so that would
40
be
and 7.
Yeah.
Woo!
There you go.
He had it on the
Absolutely.
top.
She
Woo!
did.
Who does that?
I had to break it down though,
That's
just to
right.
make
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, 40 and 7. I go with the finale.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's the man. So I go, how long did it take, for anybody that makes 8? How many minutes did you have before they wanted to know how long? You know what I'm saying? Right? Because 8 is 8 is infinity.
8 is great.
Well,
8 is
but
great.
The era's changing because the
Yeah.
stadium that they played in
Right.
for those 7
Yeah.
championships
Breathe that air. That's
is
that
gone.
ocean air.
It's gone. It's
What?
going to be torn down, and they're building a new one. We're talking about in Wichita. Not at Pershing Park. That's
what? I
staying
want to
there.
build a stadium there.
Well, I know you do.
Yeah, Field
but
of
I'm
Dreams.
talking about the
I
World
already bought the
Series.
name. I did.
Yeah.
Field
Anyway.
of Dreams. I did. Did you know I
Anyway,
did that?
What?
I bought the name.
What name?
Field of Dreams.
I don't think so. I
Why?
think Costner owns that.
No.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
Home of Dreams. What did I get? I bought something.
We're going to have to look.
Home field of something.
Home field advantage.
No, it wasn't Advantage.
Of Dreams.
I have to talk about it next week because I forgot already. I have so many URLs. I forget what I have.
Dr. Dale wanted to add in.
Oh, go, Dr. Dale. What
the
do you have?
website.
What is the website for that
Okay, so
film?
these documentaries are for free for the next few days, and then the whole set can be purchased at a cost.
Okay.
But they're extraordinarily educational and very well researched. The website is GO2, which is GO and the number 2, dot thetruthaboutvaccines.com.
Nice.
Beautiful.
It's always wonderful when
It's
you're
really worthwhile. It's powerful. Really powerful.
Education.
Education, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing.
And I have to say that I hear about these newer vaccines. They never had commercials on television encouraging you to get vaccines for things that you never even knew existed, similar to what you were talking about before for
Hepatitis B.
That, and there was one other one for girls and getting some
HPV.
And that's the HPV.
And I'm
I mean,
going,
there are more
what?
women that died from that vaccine than, actually have,
Yeah, so
situation.
Get
Ava's going to
educated.
close off the show with something profound. I feel it.
Well, I believe in my profound moment of ending the show that one, we should all take time to reflect about our actions regarding the Serena incident and make sure that we can have an opinion and thought on things that people push on us.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bang!
Very good. Very
Hey,
good.
on my birthday, I wish everybody to have a wonderful day. All right?
Oh, okay.
I want to give that to the
You're
world.
gonna-
How's that? Light warrior.
I like it.
That's
I like it.
I love Santa Barbara. I feel so blessed to be here with you all today. God bless you. See you next week.
Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.